As the country's power crisis persists, many municipalities are suffering a double blow with the rise in illegal electricity connections. A number of municipalities are struggling to settle billions of rand owed to Eskom debt. Now, to help us understand the impact of illegal electricity connections on the teetering national grid, I'm joined by Rens Bindeman, who is the technical advisor of the Southern Africa Revenue Protection Association. Rens, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Now, the issue of illegal electricity connections in South Africa seems to be growing and placing obviously a huge strain on the already failing electricity grid. Could you shed some light on the main reasons behind the increase in illegal connections and obviously their impact?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. The problem we have in the country at this stage is that there's a lot of households that's not connected. So what's happening is that people who are not customers are connecting themselves illegally to the network. And those that is on the network are bypassing the meters and the systems. And we also got new phenomena called rogue meters, where people are taking out the meters and replacing it with private meters or sub-meters, and therefore using electricity without permission, which is overloading the system. And then when the system trips, the people just bypass and cuts away the system and connect directly to the lines overhead, which then causes damage to the transformers and all the electrical equipment.
So let's talk about municipalities in South Africa and obviously them struggling to cope with the problem of these illegal power connections. What are the primary challenges they face in addressing this issue effectively? Because we've been talking about it for many, many years now.
Yeah, the problem they have is that the vast amount of cables and things that's laid in, it's very difficult to control this. And the only way that you can control this is by breaking it into smaller areas and then going into those areas and taking away these illegal connections and normalizing those areas. And then to keep it that way, because the moment they leave, the people just reconnect themselves in mass, and then the transformer blows, and then there's more trouble. So the technique we at SARPA are training on best practices, these municipalities, is how to handle the situation between the different departments and law enforcement and the police to be able to get this. And remember, this is not an electricity problem, it is a housing problem. So a lot of people have connected directly to the system, but others, there is groups of people in the communities that actually doing this. They organized, they're making a business out of it, and they are, as soon as you disconnect, they reconnect again, and they see it as a business. So we have to capture that information of what's going on there, work out the plan how to work to counter these actions, and then go in and do a organized program with the community, with the councillors, everybody working together. Because the way it's going on, it's really bad on the network, and it's bad on the the electricity supply to other people who is not doing this.
Now, Rens, you talk about what we need to do, which is establish who's doing it. But obviously this has been happening for many, many years now. What's been done in those years that it's been happening? It is not a new problem.
Yeah, in the years, like I said, in the planning, you would say that let's build the houses. Let's supply these people with a new kind of, smaller meters and cheaper meters. Let's supply the people with some electricity. So supplying them with electricity is one of the solutions. And we've got very good examples of where losses were like 29% in areas where we brought it down to 4% by electrifying the people legally, working together with the communities, getting them into what we call transit camps where they can work towards having electricity. Electricity is a need, so we need to get everybody connected. But while it's going on with all these illegal connections, we really need to know and understand. In the municipalities, they got different departments that deal with this. You've got the housing, you've got the environmental, you've got electricity, and all of them are working in silos. They need to be working together with the community, with the councillors, to deal with these problems one by one, and not try and do the whole lot together, but going step by step, taking these best practices that we from SARPA side teach them to do, and they're able to counter these actions.
Rens, do we have comparative issues across the world where countries have faced similar problems and have been able to deal with it successfully, and obviously at a much faster pace than we seem to be doing in South Africa.
Yeah, across the world, it goes with poverty. So every country where there's problems with poverty or the lack of meter supply and networks, this is happening as well. It's across the whole world. And we've got the International Revenue Protection Association, which we are SARPA, the representatives of. And but there is in South Africa very good examples of areas like Kailicha and other areas in the country where this process were done perfectly, and that it's come out very, very good. So it's not, I always say it's not rocket science, and I always also say we are actually the best in the world at dealing with these issues, although it looks very big and daunting for us in South Africa. We've put a lot of systems in place, and a lot of areas has actually been cleaned up, but it takes coercion of everybody to work together, and the municipalities, we find that not one of them doesn't want to deal with this problem. We just need to work out. So we have meetings with them all over the country, telling them what to do, assisting them, and getting the police to the party as well to assist in a nice way to get everybody to understand that it is not right to do all these illegal connections and things, and to give people electricity. That's very important for us.
Now, Rens, I'd imagine that connecting or a legal connection, if you're not proficient, is a little bit like lighting a fire. You cannot hide the smoke. Now, am I correct in assuming that those individuals that are making these illegal connections are individuals that are pretty proficient? Are any of them working for Eskom, for instance, or municipalities in the electricity departments? Because they must be very, very proficient in what they do.
Yes, they are. They are making these connections live. So we presume, and we have caught a lot of them that work for the utilities, and they are, a lot of them are electricians. Some is not, but they do these connections live, where the technicians actually won't do it live. They do it live. They work on a high voltage. They connect anywhere. So they're very efficient. They know what they're doing, and they're making a lot of money out of this. And the poor people who have not got electricity must pay them huge amounts of money to do these electrical connections. But remember, it's not only the poor people. We also get this in between big factories and companies as well that do these illegal connections. And they steal actually much more than what the smaller people steal. And their losses are much higher. Because they use such a lot of electricity. If they do steal, then it becomes a big problem. So we always think it's only in the lower costing areas. It's not. It's in big factories and businesses as well. They're also stealing. And the municipalities deal with them separately by giving them big fines, disconnecting them, making sure that they pay all and then get them to make the installations right again. So it's much wider than just being in the poor communities.
Now, Rens, you raise an interesting issue there, and that's the issue of fines. So when Eskom or certain municipalities go and make these disconnections, have there been any people apprehended or certainly arrested by the police and taken to court and served with various penalties?
Yeah, there's two ways to go. One is that the municipality would give their own type of notices and fines, which can range up to 100,000 or even more. They do it themselves, or they take them to court when they retamper, when they do it once and we catch them and they pay and they do it again, then we take it to criminal. The problems we got is that in the old Electricity Act, there were two articles that actually dealt with this problem. And that was taken out when the Regulation Act was promulgated. Those two articles were taken out. We've now put it into the new revision of the Electricity Act. And with that one, we can actually do it. But in the meantime, we've written another act called the Criminal Matters Amendment Act, CMA, in 2015. And that act is actually there to help with essential infrastructure crimes, stealing of the cables and all of that. And we've now got permission to use that act as well. And the fines there is 100 million, 30 years imprisonment, and no bail. So we are now starting to use that act. And yes, people are we are taking them to court. Eskom has had some high-profile cases already, and the Hawks are also helping us with this. But some of the cases is not theft, it is actually fraud, because the people who's actually supplying these sub-metering and then connects to that, they are actually putting it into their own bank accounts fraudulently, and not if the money is not going to the municipality, and that is fraud. So there's a wide range of cases that's open depending on what is happening on the floor.
So we talk about billions of rand being lost by the municipalities due to these illegal connections. Is it prudent to set up a team of officials, call it a hawks of sorts, specifically set up to attack and target this problem?
Yeah, there is quite a few of these forums. Like I said, there is one for the essential infrastructure. Then we got ones that what they call task teams. That there's an economical task team that was formed last year, EITT, and they also deal with this. The task teams consist of different parastatals as well as police and law enforcement officials. And so they last year these task teams were already formed, and cases are taken to them, and then they're taking it forward. And like I said, we focus on the people who's doing the tampering rather than the one household who's doing something. We're looking at the big guns, we're looking at the big businesses, and it is really going well. But of course, we don't talk about all of this on the media a lot because what we do, we're trying to keep it undercover.
Final question, Rens, before we let you go. The issue of whistleblowers. Do you have any programs that encourage members of the public to whistleblow? And are there any rewards if such exists?
Yes, every municipality and every utility or parastatal have a whistleblowers system. That I would call on all your listeners that please they need to contact us if they can't get hold of the municipalities. They can contact us at SARPA, and we will be able to line them up. We are there. Every one of these municipalities do have a whistleblower program, and we're having big successes with that. And you must remember, if you are not talking about this and you are not reporting it, it is your electricity that goes off. It's your transformer that will burn out, and you won't have electricity for a long time. So tonight we are saying, please, everybody out there, please contact us. Please get in a hold of us so that we can deal with this. It's very important for South Africa and everybody that stays in the country.
Rens Bindeman is the technical advisor of the Southern African Revenue Protection Association. Appreciate your time this afternoon.